back to square one. Subriel Matías, as you all know, is a WBC junior welterweight champion, calling out Teofimo López, telling him that he's scared, also saying derogatory terms in which I cannot disclose right now or utter because I have the children's out here, you understand? But he called him the P word, you feel me? Disrespectful. But Subriel Matías looked like he have every right to call out who you want to call out, especially the Teofimo López call out, because let's not forget that there was an offer for Teofimo López, $2.8 million to fight Subriel Matías on pay-per-view, and Teofimo López declined that top-rank offer, right? But also, let's be fair, because the first offer, it was for the first offer a couple of years ago for Subriel Matías to fight Teofimo López on that Super Bowl week, and Subriel Matías couldn't fight because he felt he wasn't ready because of his injured hand. And then he signed a multi-fight deal with Eddie Hearn, True Boxing, and eventually he lost his title versus Liam Paro. So we could honestly say that both have avoided each other, both avoided contracts that was on the table, right? Where I think that Teofimo López is not going to get the benefit of the doubt was because Teofimo López has been complaining also about not getting the pay-per-view attraction, and the other fighters like Devin Haney already got a pay-per-view, Ryan Garcia pay-per-view, Gervonta Tank Davis pay-per-view, and he has accomplished more than these guys, so he feels like, damn, that's what he wanted, those contracts with Top Rank to get the pay-per-view. But then when he got that offer, he said that he'd rather have that fight with Subriel Matías for free TV because it was going to be out there in Las Vegas. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like even though Teofimo López, that got a gift for gab and know how to promote some fights, should have banked on himself and trust the way that he promotes, the way that his father promotes, and the way that clash would have been promoted, that he would have gotten more than $100,000 pay-per-view buys, and then he was going to get, back end pay-per-view money with the success. But he didn't believe that he was going to sell, him and Matias was going to sell good pay-per-view. But whatever. Turkey Al Sheikh just said there would be no more pay-per-view. There would be no pay-per-view. And also Turkey Al Sheikh said that he's not willing to fight. He's not willing to deal with Teofimo López. But it was a legitimate call out. Subriel Matías is calling out Teofimo López. He called out Richardson Hitchens. And those are great unification bouts. To be honest, the champions right now in the 140-pound division is like, out of all the division, is the best, right? You got Gary Antoine Russell, you got Teofimo López, Richardson Hitchens, and you got Subriel Matías. And I think that was all the matches will be in a highly intriguing matchup. We all know Subriel Matías is going to be fighting Smith in November, probably. Hopefully, unification could trump that mandatory that nobody was asking for, nobody want to see. I rather Turkey Al Sheikh says, let me get Subriel Matías and Teofimo López, or at least Subriel Matías and Richardson Hitchens for unification bout. But we don't know if Turkey Al Sheikh still want to fight, still want to deal with Teofimo López. But legitimate call about Subriel Matías. Subriel Matías may have the lesser of the technical skill set, but I think that where boxing, the frustration of the boxing fans, that they like the type of action that Subriel Matías comes to the table. You know what I'm saying? People want to see a fight. In the end of the day, he doesn't have no defense. He just goes out there and bangs it out, and whatever happens, happens. He said that before, that he can't outbox the likes of Teofimo López. So he's not going to try to box him. He's going to try to fight him. And I think that Subriel Matías could also still be successful. Look, Subriel Matías got the Arturo Gatti aura. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't technically better than a lot of elite fighters in his time, but people love to see Arturo Gatti fight, and they love to see Subriel Matías fight. And I think it's better for the sport of boxing, probably in the 140-pound division, for Subriel Matías to be a champion. I know a lot of people felt like it was a controversial decision. Some people have Puello winning, other people just like the way that Matias went out there and got it from the champion. And that's one thing that I wasn't saying and throughout the live or after the fight with Puello, is that we always say you got to take it from a champion. Subriel Matías went out there and he tried to take it away from Puello, and it seemed like he did. But I would love Subriel Matías and his team to talk to Turkey Al Sheikh and forget about that mandatory, and rather the unification bout. I think that Eddie Hearn is going to push for that mandatory. But how much you want to bet if Richardson Hitchens signs back with Eddie Hearn? Just like Turkey Al Sheikh said, he won't work with Richardson Hitchens if he's not He's not signed to Eddie Hearn, and probably they could get that unification bout with Subriel Matías and and Subriel Matías versus Richardson Hitchens. I think that would be a better matchup. And Teofimo López, in a recent interview, I think it was Fight Hype, did say that he would knock out Subriel Matías. Now, let me tell you like this. I think that Subriel Matías is actually tailor-made for Teofimo López. Whether people, you dislike Teofimo López or like Teofimo López, dislike Subriel Matías, let's be real, let's be honest. When we're talking about the technical side of things, compared to Teofimo López, Subriel Matías, he don't got no defense at all. But people still questioning the power of Teofimo López going up to the 100 right now in the 140-pound division. He hasn't really got a stoppage other than the Pedro Compa, right? But he's hurt his opponents and stuff like that. He knows how to throw that jab to the solo plex. He looked at very, very well. He looked at polished. He looked at all the skill. His skill set was out there in May 2nd versus Barbosa. He was landing a lot of shots, throwing the beautiful jab, quadrupling the jab, tripling the jab, combination punches, showboating at the end at the same time. I think that maybe, even though that everybody was boring except for Teofimo López and probably that little highlight of Rolly Romero knocking down Ryan Garcia, I don't know if he overwhelmed Turkey. I think that it was an exceptional outing for Teofimo López. I think he did wonderful. Everything was working on all cylinders like a well-oiled machine. Intellect and physical ability was coexisting at the highest level. But I don't know if Turkey was overwhelmed. Nobody even heard Turkey Al-Sheikh give Teofimo López props for his outing. You know what I'm saying? So I think if Teofimo López probably would have knocked out Barbosa, I think the problem that he has with Turkey Al-Sheikh, I think Turkey Al-Sheikh would have forgiven him and stuff like that, and he would have never said what he said in the boxing voice, probably, because I don't know. I just that's what I'm assuming, but yeah, I think that Teofimo López could hurt. We've seen Subriel Matías be hurt, so I think he could hurt him. So do I think that Subriel Matías could hurt Teofimo López? I think Teofimo López could see all those punches coming. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people was all high on Subriel Matías. Let's not forget when Subriel Matías lost to Liam Paru, many didn't even see his fight. The fight in between the fight that he just had. So I don't want to hear a lot of people coming, yo, Subriel Matías is the man. Now, a lot of people abandoned him. I remember there was a lot of channels out here on YouTube that created channels. So I'm respecting Subriel Matías. I think he's good for the sport of boxing. I think that the Puerto Rican people in the sport of boxing is good for the sport of boxing, especially in America and North America, because one of the Puerto Rican fans is very, very consistent and very supportive. Look, there was a lot of people felt that Puello won, but there was not no Dominican support, to be honest. Maybe I did say what I said, but at the end of the day, Puello didn't even speak. He didn't even fight for thinking that he got controversial or robbed or whatever. So hopefully Puello does what he needed to do to get back his. Maybe the rematch will be good. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think a lot of people want to see Subriel Matías with the Richardson Hitchens, with the Teofimo López, with Gary Antoine Russell, which he been calling out for a long time. Now he's in position. Now he got the green belt. Now he got the momentum. And Teofimo López could have had this momentum because he would have gone to August 16th and fight Devin Haney, and then it would have been, I think that's the only issue right now with Teofimo López's career is momentum. You know what I'm saying? It's just momentum. Every time he does get a good victory, it's the momentum, right? He beat Lomachenko, but lasted a whole year because of the thriller, the postponement, and all that stuff. He beat Josh Taylor. He said he was retired, so a lot of people couldn't give him his flowers, right? Because now people was focused on retirement. He went to ESPN, Max Kellerman, he retired. So the momentum wasn't there after. Then he beat Arnold Barbosa. Then a couple of controversial statements, losing fans, losing faith. The business handlers is getting mad at Teofimo López. So hopefully Teofimo López, just, do what he need to do. As what that he does inside of the ring, he builds a great team surrounding him. People that he could trust. Not only that could do the work, but he got to trust them doing the work. And Teofimo López still have the ingredients to be the face of American boxing, and I think that he gets those opponents in the ring, he beats them, and I think this year could have been it. You know, I think this year could have been it if he would have took that $8 million, whatever, beat Devin Haney, move on to another big fight. And then have Turkey speaking highly, the whole boxing world speaking highly. But right now, the writers, the channels, the business handlers, they all against Teofimo Lopez. And some is self-inflicted as well, as much as the politics in the sport of boxing has gotten in the way of fogging his legacy, as well with the WBC franchise and the network saying he's undisputed, then saying he's not undisputed, then say he's undisputed, confusing everything. His legacy been tampered with, I understand, but also he's been tampered, but he has tampered with his momentum as well. So he got to take accountability, and everybody else got to take accountability for the way that his career has been moved, but also he has to take accountability and responsibility for the things that have come out of his mouth, what he tweeted, how he handles the people that, people that show him love, and then he picks against them, like Edgar Berlanga, like Canelo Alvarez. So, just like, he's still growing, in my opinion, but, there's certain things that he needs to take accountability and responsibility. And also there's people that has to also, in the end of the day, people are going to worry about what he does in the ring. So as much as people may not like the person, at the end of the day, we care about what the fighter's done in the ring. And all he needs to do is get back in the ring, just like with Kid Austin. Kid Austin got back. There's a lot of people saying stuff about Kid Austin and his dad. Once he got back in the ring, he beat Tevin Farmer. We ain't talking about whatever happened out there in Saudi Arabia, right? So just like Mike Tyson convicted, he got convicted of, came back, beat Peter McNeely. We back with Mike Tyson. It is what it is. Let me know what y'all think.